Hi, in this video, we shall talk about how we're going to use power series as a solution to a ODE. So before we begin, let's take a recap into power series. So a power series just looks like this infinite sum polynomial, and it is said to converge to a point x if this limit exists for that x. And the series certainly converges for x equals to x naught. So it may converge for all the x or some values of x. And the series is said to converge absolutely if you take the sum of the absolute values, you add them together, the limit exists. And we already know that if it converges absolutely, then it must converge normally, it must converge as well. And how do we test for absolute convergence is we can use the ratio test. And basically you just need to show that this limit over here exists. And not only does it exist, it must be less than 1 for it to converge absolutely. And if it's greater than 1, then it diverges. So we take a look at an example. So we just need to find the values of x such as this power series converge. So we just use the ratio test, and we see that we need this to hold. Well, the limit of this is 1, and so we are left with this. And this only holds for x between 1 to 3. At 1 and 3, then you just need to check the endpoints, and you see that the corresponding series, this doesn't converge, this also doesn't converge. Thus, the interval of convergence is 1 to 3 excluding the endpoint. Next, we talk about the radius of convergence, which is basically the interval in which this series converge absolutely. So for a series that converges only at x naught, then we define the radius of convergence to be 0. And if you converge for all x, then we say that your radius of convergence is infinite. The series may converge or diverge when it is exactly at the endpoint, so you have to always check that separately. And now we take two series that converge in the same interval. When you add them or subtract them termwise, this is the resultant series you get, and what you know is that it converges as well. It can also be multiplied together, and this convolution product also will converge. Next, we talk about the Taylor series. As we already know, how we form the Taylor series is we just keep differentiating to get the desired coefficients. And so the Taylor series is given when your coefficients are of the form of the derivatives. And these derivatives can be computed by differentiating term by term and subbing in the appropriate x equals to x naught or x equals to whatever. And we say that if a function has a Taylor series expansion, meaning it differentiates infinitely and this limit still exists, then it is said to be analytic at the point x naught. So it's basically, how you think of it is you have the interval, and then here is your x naught. From this x naught, your function is able to expand out as a power series. So some common functions are sin x, ex, any polynomial. So 1 over x is analytic at x equals to 0, except x equals to 0. And so if f and g are analytic, then the sum, the product, and the quotient are also analytic. Next, if we take two series, power series, and you equate them together, then each coefficient must be equal. In particular, what we like with this property is that we can take the sum equals to 0 and say that each coefficient must be 0. What's also important in helping us is that we understand that this summation, this n, this index of summation is a dummy variable, and so you can just use n, you can use j. These two are actually interchangeable and equal. You can also now shift the index of summation, and this is a very useful trick to change this from 2 to infinity to 0 to infinity. Then all you need to do is just replace n with m plus 2. So then this becomes m equals to 0 to infinity, this m plus 2, and this m plus 2. So now we assume that this power series equal to each other. So this is an example of how we use the shifting. Then we just need to shift this to 0 to infinity. Or we just need to make this xn minus 1 to xn. So to do so, this will result in the following equation. Hence, this side expands into this will equal to the right hand side. And now since each power equals to each other, each x, so x0, x1, then x2, then by the theorem, by the property earlier, this coefficient must equate. And with that, then we know that an plus 1 equals to an over n plus 1. And this is a recurrence formula that we will be able to solve. So in general, we can use mathematical induction to show that an equals to a naught over n factorial. And then we can resub this formula back into the original series to get this following thing. And we know that this series is just the series expansion for ex. So it's just a naught ex. So why will I go through so much power series is that in the end, we can actually use a series solution. And a series solution means that your solution can be written as a power series to actually solve for an ODE. So we first assume that the solution has a series formula. So it's something like this. And if you center about 0, then this x naught is 0, so you actually get this. And because of that, we just need to differentiate this to get this following formula, and differentiate again to get this. And then you just need to resub it into this equation, and you get this following. So the understanding now is, you see, you can shift this index of summation to get 0, and this is xn now. With that, our now equation can combine together because they start from the same starting point and end at the end, and each term is the same. It's like x to the power 0, x1, x2. So then you combine them, you get this. Now with this equation, because it equals to 0, you see, equals to 0, then by the above formula, by the property we have earlier, this must be 0 for all n. This gives us the recurrence relation that we want, that we now can solve for. So we got this, we can use it to get A2, A4, A6 all the way. And this shows that our formula is this. We can also use it to get A1 all the way. And with that, we get this other formula for the odd terms. So we are able to split the odd and even terms into two different formulas, which allows us to split the terms into two different power series, one with only even terms and one with the odd powers. With that understanding now, we know that this will be one of the fundamental set of solutions and this will be the other fundamental set of solutions. So how do we get the A1 and A0 is we just use the initial conditions. We also can now use the ratio test to actually show that this series converge, which proves that this, whatever we have done here, all this manipulation, because this series will converge, all this manipulation will hold true. So what you're really doing is that if you already know that you can use a series solution, you can just assume that it's of that form, and when you solve it out, everything will hold automatically. So the problem comes in when it is not possible to have a series solution. And we can take a look at this equation known as the Euler's equation. And the question is, does it even have a series solution of the form? So if we just use this as, if we assume that there is a series solution, then when we result in the following sense, we get this. A0 must be 0, A1 is also 0, whatever in this chunk is also 0. Then, by the recurrence relation, every coefficient is 0, which means that the original series, y must be 0. But that's not possible because y equals to 0 is not the series solution. So now we ask ourselves, why aren't there any series solution to this equation? And the reason for that is when you convert it to standard form, we actually see that this is not analytic at 0. And so the existence and uniqueness theorem don't apply, which prevents us from even finding a solution. Hence, this is how we apply the power series to find solutions for ODEs. In the next video, I'll dive deeper into this theory and when does a series solution actually hold. So I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.